Are you ready? We've got an amazing casted game for you today, and it's on Hill and Dale. And on the North Hill, we have MSN.DK in the blue as the Abbasid dynasty, and on the South Hill, we have Beasty himself, Beastie Cutie in the pink, as the Roos. So MSN sent me this one and said I definitely needed to check it out. And if you know Age of Empires, you know Beastie, and so this is going to be literally top of the top level play. So we're going to get to see some really great action this time. Let's take a little look as they're both counter scouting each other. So Beastie's managed to nab most of those sheep in the middle, and he's getting a really big haul. So he's got a load, and if we check out his vision, there we go, we can see, oh no, I got it wrong. MSN got all the sheep. Oh, good job, mate. So he's managed to scoot round and contest all of those sheep. So they've both done a diagonal cut through, and he's going to get all of these back sheep over here and then back round onto the base. Is he going to get the little shadow sheep? Let's see. I'm sure it's going to turn blue any second, or is he going to be just outside? Watching the shadow sheep, and the shadow sheep is back in the shadows. If we go over to Beastie's side, we can see he's doing all right on the sheep this side. So they're both doing a similar scouting path, and he's gone for 2 scouts. So the second one obviously coming out from the hunting cabin, and this time he's not having to go for the classic deer hunt, the bounty minigame, because the bounty has been reworked, and so he's just going to be able to contest the sheep, and then we're going to see how he's going to manage to get all of that bounty himself. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup to see how both of these guys decide to play it. MSN's obviously got his House of Wisdom there with those 4 wings that we tend to see. Now Hillendale's an interesting one because it does open things up for the trade wing, and obviously there were some adjustments to the caravan and stuff like that. So this one gives all the traders extra armor in the feudal age, so that does make them a little extra tanky. They can survive a little bit more of a beating, and then you get some other upgrades that they get 25% of their gold or something else in their castle age, etc, etc. So because the markets are down in these corners, sometimes you see it, but MSN has switched. He was going military and now he's gone for trade. So he's going to have to make sure that he closes this side off, which with those all of these little pockets of woods is actually going to work out quite well for him, and then he can start that trade and then maybe drop a market over in this corner to get that going. If we take a little look at Beastie's side, we've got a front Kremlin, and now this is a really good spot. So this is going to cover the gold and the stone, and he's managed to age up without touching any of the stone at all. So this is what you see a lot of people doing, or you're going to see a lot of people doing, should I say, because you can get gold now from the sheep, so it takes a little bit longer to get that age up, but then you can do that. But with these guys going straight onto gold, I think we're going to be seeing a super fast castle coming through, and we can see that Beastie has got 8 sheep. If we head over to MSN's side, we can check out over by his TC when he's dropped off, and he's got 13. So actually, even on the 1 scout, he has done really well there for the overall numbers. And it looks like we're going to be seeing some wood there from Beastie, whether he's just getting enough so he can get survival techniques and get out on that deer for food, and he's just dropped off the sheep there, which is going to mean that he can get back onto food. So hopefully that means that his food eco is going to be nice, because he actually ran out of the sheep because he was so delayed on bringing them back. So trade wing coming through, we're going to have to wait and see what happens there, and he's going to get 3 traders immediately. So Beastie's definitely going to have got this scouted, and but these guys are going to get some. So if we take a little look when they first come out, because it's a slightly shorter route, each of these guys, once they're set, there's nothing yet, so whether it just needs to update or they actually have to hit the market before they activate, we'll just have to wait and see. But both of these guys hitting the feudal age, and Beastie working his way on that gold. If we take a little look over at the rest of what they're both up to, we can see some wood being gathered, but no production yet. There's nothing on stone, so it doesn't look like there's going to be a TC coming up for Beastie, but he is going to be walling in that trade. Oh, this is going to be devastating. If he can catch those traders inside the walls, he could also stop them coming out as well. We can see that a market is going down on this side, and MSN is going to be walling that in, so I imagine we'll be seeing another little short wall over here. But if the market itself gets stopped, that's where he's in real trouble. So There we go. So 22. Okay, so they did drop off a bit, 22 each, and then that market's come up, and then it's up to 70. So it looks like he was waiting for that market to drop so that he could link them up. These reinforced, fortified palisade walls from the roost coming up, and this is really not what you want to be coming up against if you're going to be going for trade. If we take a little look, we do have some archery ranges and a barracks coming down, so military going to be coming in with a camel archer already in queue, so there's going to be some troops there to try and defend this trade, which is exactly what you need to do. And a nice little safe short wall there, so quite close to the base. I guess we could have gone a little bit further forward, but it does the job at this stage. But we do see this wall is coming up, and is MSN going to be able to use his scout to deny it? We're going to have to wait and see whether he can make it. If we have a look over, Beasty has got a knight in queue, so he's going to be doing some classic knight harass, and still very, very heavy on that food, so he is going to be, hopefully, I imagine, going for that castle age. There we go. So the scout is denying this wall. Look at this. Amazing job. He's literally straight down the blueprint there. Armored caravans just coming in, so those traders are going to be even more difficult to deal with, and the scout is, there we go, so he's on hold ground. You can see that, stand ground, so that means he's not going to move when the villager comes to attack. But we do know now there is a knight on the way, and he's going to be trying to put a stop to this scout and the trade that's going along with it. Camel Archer in the stealth forest ready to go, which means it's going to be a bit of a sneak attack for Beasty, because we can see he doesn't have vision on that yet. Scout in the back being dealt with by the other Camel Archer that we already have. So we're just waiting to see what Beasty's knight does as he pops out, and he's just missed that camel, and MSN's just happens to have caught him on the way. Getting the charge off on there, so he's now going to have to kite. Even with the debuff, these knights are going to be tricky to deal with. Taking out that additional wall, oh, that's a great little catch. When it's so low health there, just a little torch damage and it's down. So the camel coming in, let's take a little look at the fight. We can see the camel trying to kite away so it doesn't get absolutely obliterated by the Roost Knight there. So running away and kiting, all of this micro is something that I am super jealous of these high level players. And we can see the other scout, where's the second knight? Here we go. So he's coming across the field. Is he going to go for the trade? Is he going to try and harass the base? Looks like it's going to be going towards the base with one of the scouts, but we can see that both of these players are macroing for castle. Beasty's going up with the Abbey of the Trinity, which means he's going to try and hoover up some of these relics, but MSN is not going to be far behind. So what wing is he going to go for, do we think? I imagine probably military, because with composite bows and that boot camp, that's going to make his infantry really, really strong, and a composition to be feared. The knights coming in, and oh, that's one villager down. Oh, that was a nice little hit there, and it looks like there's one apiece, so whether there's a villager that... The villager that got caught out over here, that's the trick. So these traders coming in, if we take a little look over here, we've got 6, and they're going to be slowly added in to buff up that little trade boom that's going. But these knights getting caught out by the camels. So we see that little purple glow where they look like they've been poisoned by the Malian archers. That's the really nice little cavalry debuff that the camels get. And look how much damage that they are able to do. And the knights' damage is reduced, so these traders with that armored caravans, they are actually going to be even more defensive there. So the problem with the age up for the Abbasid is it's time restricted. There's no way of speeding it up. So Beasties hit Castle Age, and all MSN can do is wait. So if we take a little look over, we're going to see the warrior monk coming in and queued up to go out the front of the base, as we see another monastery coming up. So it looks like he's going to be really trying to make sure that he can get all of those relics. And there's a couple of Kremlins that have popped out. Where are you? So the knights coming over there to try and stop these traders. We're still up to 6, but the other knight being taken out and the scout running away. If we take a little look over now, the Kremlin, the Kremlin gremlins, they got changed, and I believe, if I read the notes correctly, that they slowly lose health over time, but they stay on 1 health now. So as long as they don't take any damage, they're actually still going to be able to do something there. So against traders, they're going to be fantastic, because the traders can't actually damage them. So if you think they do 10 a hit, and the traders have, where are you? They have 90, so they would actually be able to take out at least 1 or 2 of those. But unfortunately, MSN's not going to be caught out by any of these shenanigans, and it looks like these gremlins are going to be hit. There we go. No health, so it doesn't matter. One hit each, and they are going to go down, so they're not going to be able to take out any of those traders just yet. But using the stealth forest, they're hiding in the background, and are they going to get a shot off? There we go. One down, two down. There we go. So the warrior monks there getting all of the relics, the camels there to defend. We've got the camel riders there that are trying to catch them, but it looks like some of those will be getting home. Another warrior monk in queue, so there's the safe relic in the back over here, and there's the one that's walled in, so this one's pretty safe. So Beasty's going to be trying to get the 4 exposed relics. One warrior monk is down and guarded by the camels, and are we going to see a monastery coming in? We can also see some of these techs coming in. Boot camp is going to be followed after the Grand Bazaar, which is going to make that trade even stronger. And how far are we up to now? 7 traders with even more in queue. So going for a slow trade boom here, slowly adding them in. Often you'll see like 2 or 3 markets dropped and people really hammering it. So I think this is a clever play because Rus can field a lot of units, and you definitely don't want to get caught out by those. So we've got camels and spears, and these spears are actually really good for Abbasid when they've got that phalanx upgrade, and they can also make siege on the field, which is one of the really big benefits of playing the Abbasid dynasty. That relic is in, 2 already secure, 3rd one literally about to drop off, and this 4th one is going to make it home. So this is really going to boost up the economy for Beasty as we switch over to the resources per minute. So still going quite heavy on the gold, and the food. He has taken this deer at the back. Now we're going to pop out to the well, before we do that, we're going to watch this fight, and then we're going to pop out to see what bounty Beasty is on. So we can see we've got lancers, we've got camel riders, we've got camel archers, we've got a bit of everything on the Abbasid side, and we've got the warrior monks, horse archers, and the knights for the Rus. These horse archers are incredible. They are getting debuffed by the camels, so that's working in MSN's favour, and they are weak to range, so the camel archers and the crossbows there are going to be able to take them out, because if we bring the interface back up, these guys don't have any ranged armour, so that's the counter to them, including static defences. If they can't get in to kite you, then they can't kill you. If we take a little look out, then let's go to Beasty's perspective so we can see the bounty. So we can see it here. So he's on 540s on tier 2 at the moment, so he's getting 10% villager buff, and the hunting cabin's getting 25% extra. So he's got quite a long way to go before he gets to tier 3, but getting that tier 2 is going to be a big boost to his economy. Let's go bring the interface back up. There we go. It's a shame we can't see it when we're like this, but I do think it's important to see where his bounty is. So using these warrior monks, he is going to be trying to get the sacred sites because it's going to force MSN to react. We've got a camel rider over here that is definitely taking one of these guys out. It's going to decap that bottom side, and it looks like we're going to see a bit of conflict on the front. The units rallying out past the front of the base, and so either Beasty's going to get a really good hit on the base, or he's going to get absolutely pinched by the reinforcements. So we're going to have to wait and see. No villagers on the front gold there, so MSN is away, but those villagers are going to get caught by the horse archers, very quickly taking one of those out. And this is where the mobility of these horse archers and knights is going to come into play, because they can now just run around the back, and it's going to take a while for MSN to get there. So if we take a little look, there we've got crossbows and that trying to deny the stone at the front of the base, while the horse archers are trying to take out those the traders. So the traders are also getting 18 food each, so now they're getting tons of gold and food. We've got warnings going off all the time, so these guys are kiting and getting the trade. There's a knight that's come in and got some of the villagers on the deer. There's units on the front that have been harassing these the guys on the stone here, so whether Beasty's going for a second TC there to try and make up some of this eco difference, we'll have to see. But it looks like the horse archers have all been taken out by the crossbows now, and so that is well and truly over. The walls almost completely up, so that actually they've covered that on MSN's side, and he has got a lancer in the wood line there raiding Beasty, but the crossbows putting a quick end to him. So at the moment, the military is looking very, very favourable for MSN. He's got a ton of units, and they're all right outside the base, circling round, going for the kill. We've got a couple of villagers here that are building these extra walls, because obviously Beasty could just delete one of these and get in from that side. So that's a good thing for him, and he's got 8, 9, all going up to 10 traders, so that trade is going to be going off even more, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a big push as Beasty tries to drop that TC to make up the difference from the Abbasid trade boom. So we've got archers coming forward and crossbows targeting the camels, but Beasty sees them coming in and realizes that MSN is just too much for him to handle. The Griabara Chad taking the win in this one. And here we are just before GG gets called, as MSN is going in for the final charge into Beasty's base. So let's just zoom out, bring up the interface and pause it so we don't run out of time. So what an amazing match from these really top level players. This MSN at the moment is, I think, 30. Beasty is obviously number 1 or number 2. So this is really going to be some top level play. So looking at this then, looking at what happened that worked really well and didn't, I think Beasty's idea of walling in this trade post is actually really, really good. It's something that I never really consider when I'm playing against someone trading, and it's definitely something I'm going to be stealing for my own games. But what MSN did here, where he had his scout on this one piece here and denied that wall from going up, and then as the villager was taken out by one of the camels, he deleted that wall, so it meant the trade could just continue to go in. And then later on, he was able to secure this with his own palisade walls. Also doing this one to make sure that Beasty couldn't get back in, I think, was a really good idea. Dropping these little short walls also to defend the trade here worked really well for him. If we see, Beasty did really well. He did a super fast castle and he was able to secure a load of the relics, so he actually got 4. So his gold eco actually is really, really good, considering he wasn't trading. Obviously he was very heavy on the gold, but getting those relics gave him a huge boost when he hit castle. Knowing the trade was going on, he was obviously dropping a TC there so that he could get a villager lead, and that would then match the eco. So because he wasn't able to damage the trade, his reaction was to do something which could then equal the economy, because if you just let that trade go unchecked, then you're going to be in trouble. Also, he secured his base, was securing it with some walls on the sides to make sure some raids weren't coming in, but MSN was just hitting him head on at the front, and even with the Kremlin just outside of range on this side, he was able to do a huge amount of damage. If we take a little look at MSN's base, he's obviously got a ton of buildings. That's going to be helping his golden age come in, and he went for a really nice composition. Actually, I think worked really well to counter Beasty, because Beasty went very heavily into knights and horse archers, so he had both versions of the camels. So he had the camel riders and where's the other ones? Okay, he doesn't have any of the other ones left, but he had the other camels as well, the camel archers. So there we go, those ones. So he had both of those, which debuff both of the cavalry, and then he went very heavily into archers, which obviously is the counter to the horse archers. So this combination, there we go, he has got one somewhere, but that was able to do a huge amount of damage and really keep those numbers down. If we see the military at the end here is 45 to MSN and 20 to Beasty. So the fact that all of those knights got taken out and they didn't get to do a huge amount of damage, they got 7 villagers in total. MSN was also able to get 3 because he had a cheeky little lancer that got in the wood line. He got a couple of villagers that were over here on his back deer over here, so that worked really well in his favour. If we take a little look at the ecotechs as well, we can see that Beasty got basically all of his ecotechs. He's also got the level 2 horticulture one. I never remember what the level 2 is called, but he's also getting his arrow defense and arrow attack, so that's working really well for him. MSN doesn't have all of the same ones. He does have the arrow defense and attack, and he has double broadaxe because he's going very heavily into wood. If we take a look, he's on 16 villagers, and this is something that I think a lot of people take for granted, is he's not just gone for all the ecotechs without thinking about it. He's going very heavily on wood. That's where he's going to get that return on investment, because a lot of this food is from the trade. If you think there's 9 of these getting 18 each, So a lot of that food is actually coming from trade, so it's not going to be buffed up a huge amount by getting horticulture as an example. So really good. But I think taking these units and being able to really keep Beasty in his base and not be able to go out apart from getting those relics definitely worked in his favor. And then this final push is really the nail in the coffin, where Beasty knows it's gonna be no coming back from that. But what a fantastic game. Loads of stuff I think that we can all learn from, either how to trade boom or how not to stop the trade boom. And I think honestly it's a fantastic match, and it's great seeing MSN taking on this Goliath on the ladder. So I hope you enjoyed this match as much as I did. If you've got your own games you'd love me to cast, then make sure you send me the details. There's a link in the description where you can put all that in, and I'll see you next time for some more amazing Age of Empires action.